Please join me in welcoming Norman Gyamfi.
I got a lot of stuff up there. Thank you, everybody. It's good to be home. It's good to see everybody here. My baby sister is on her way. I'm not gonna stall too much, but I do want her to be here. I want to say first thank you to the president of this fine institution. I want to also say thank you to the woman who God placed it on her heart to have me here, Mrs. Sakitha Adams, and to my classmate, Lakina Ingram, I apologize, for reaching out to me and getting me here. It's an honor, it's a privilege. I'm very emotional today to be back home under these circumstances. Those of you that knew me growing up, this may come as somewhat of a surprise, but I think that it points to the power of God, what He can do in a life when it's surrendered to Him.
Amen.
Today I'm going to take some of my brothers and sisters in the room on a journey of what it takes to get here. I think a day like today, you highlight a lot of the things that people talk about to get to a place like this. As Antonio just read my resume, he left a lot of things out. You know, that is what we call the Instagram resume. He didn't talk about the young kid who was basically kicked out of Washington County High School for getting in trouble every day. He didn't talk about my praying mother and grandmother pleading with the superintendent at the time and principal to not send me to alternative school. He didn't talk about my mother coming to pick me up from Dillard's in Augusta because I was still in clothes with the money in my pockets. We don't talk about those moments, but those are the moments that shape us. Those are the moments and the resilience that get us to days like today. I want to remind everyone in this room, no one makes it without the support of everyone. It takes grace. It takes truth. It takes accountability. It takes friends. It takes family. It takes extended family. It takes everyone for one person to succeed. There's no one that is self-made, and that includes me. When you rattle off the list of companies that I'm in pleasure to own, one of the hallmarks of my journey is collaboration. Jonathan J. sitting here is one of my business partners. And at the time that we came together, I was at one of the most broken places in my life. I had just gone through a transition in other relationships. I highlight that because your journey will be marked by moments where you have to stand steadfast and you have to remember the vision God gave you and that the road there won't be easy. There's an old song we used to sing at Bold Spring Baptist Church. And I'm not a vocalist here, we just had some amazing vocalists before us. But it says, nobody told me the road would be easy. And I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. The reason I highlight that is this. Many of you find yourselves in situations where it may have been your plan, like Antonio. It may not have been your plan, but technical school is an opportunity for you to restore, rehabilitate, or even it's the first opportunity for someone in your family to have secondary education. I want to remind you, it doesn't matter where you begin, it doesn't matter how you get there, it matters what you do once you get there. This, right now, the inspiration behind what I'm saying in this speech, I want to inspire each and every one of us to remember that what we have to do here on earth was placed in us by God and God alone. And He needs you to make it happen. It's not an option. He needs you to make it happen. There's only one Norman. There's only one Jonathan. There's only one Willie. That's my father. There's only one Willie. That's my other dad. The purpose in what I'm saying is that without Mr. Willie here, I never would have played rec basketball. I would have never played rec football. I would have never had the opportunity when I got in trouble another time to have my dad be there and help me through community service. There were so many stumbling blocks along my journey. My dad left when I was growing up, maybe like many of you, I hope not, but that's my story. And it's a story that I wear proudly, because without that, the man that I am today isn't the man that I am. I've been through things that I'm gonna help other young men and women go through. I haven't had a squeaky clean journey. I wasn't the non-troublemaker. I'm not the kid to stand up here and say I've never been arrested or I've never been accused of anything that I didn't do. But I am a man that can say, through it all, God was present, God was there, He had my back, He was there in the corner. In the deepest, darkest moments of my life, I could turn to God at every point. Not my blingy glasses, not my nice necklace, not my blinged out watch. Those are the things that gets people's attention, but those aren't the things that hold me. Those aren't the things that keep me focused. Those aren't the things that provide hope when there is no hope. Those aren't the things that keep you steadfast. Those aren't the things you can turn to in a difficult moment. What good is money if you don't have help? What good is a big house if you don't have peace of mind? What good is a closet full of closets if there's no one that you can turn to for a hug to keep you warm? Family, community, love. Those are the things that matter. Those are the things that shape us. Those are the things that take a kid from 710 Evelyn Street that was walking to TJ Hunter Middle School the last year of his existence and takes him and where you can have a resume that's missing a few things. You can have a resume where you don't know what my mom went through. She's crying. My sister's praying day and night that I just come to Jesus and be the guy that they've always been praying that I could be. And I didn't make that decision until I was 31. What he doesn't say is I went to another college before Georgia Tech. It was Howard University. And my mom was paying, took out over $80,000 in loans, and I dropped every class. And I was there from the time I graduated with honors from Washington County High School from 2004 to 2010. And I wasn't any further towards a degree than I was when I got there. That's what my resume doesn't say. But God.
That's good.
But family. But prayer. But belief. And then I did, the moment that God, I had a test. My sister was at a college, Georgia Southern. And I had one opportunity. My best friend at the time, he passed away in Cancun. He was my roommate, he was my back, I'm Kappa. If anybody knows what that is for fraternity. He passed away, and I called my mom and I said, I gotta leave DC. I was embarrassed. I was a smart kid. Like I mentioned, everybody in Sandersville, you guys know Sandersville. You go to college, normally you this big shot, you don't graduate. You're a failure. It's not it's no cut and dry. That's what it is. It's embarrassing. It's all of those things. And I felt those real emotions. And so I made fun of my little sister for going to Georgia Southern. We can be honest about it. I thought, I always got this competitive drive about who was the smartest. And my little sister graduated not only college before me, she graduated dental school before I even finished an undergraduate degree. Dental school. This is the older brother that was always telling her I'm smarter than you, I'm better than you, all of these things. The reason I bring that up is she never, ever allowed that to change the way she treated me. She still believed in me. She was the #1 person praying for me next to my mom. She always held me tight. She always held me close. She always believed the better for me. When you have that person in your corner, hold tight to that person. Latch on to them. Listen to the words they say. And for those of you that are that person for someone, don't give up.
Great.
Don't ever give up on that person. For some people, we're to be long suffering for. For some people, we're to continue to pour in. For some people, it may never look like it gets right. I'm talking to you from the age I was 18 to 31. 13 years before I ever showed any signs of their prayers working. 13 years before I ever showed any signs of anything close to what I was to be. I'm 36 today. In 5 years, I went from my mother paying all of my bills, my sisters praying for me, I was still in college, by the way. I didn't finish Georgia Tech until I was 28 years old. I graduated Washington County High School at 18. I was in college for 10 years. My message to each and every one of you is this: you don't know what God can do when you give him a yes. When you give him that unadulterated yes, when you buy in, when you say yes to your destiny, it's not about when, it's about how you do it and at the time you do it. What do I mean by how? It's not blind. It's not a blind yes. Did I still second guess it? Because at that point I graduated, I had the markings of someone that was successful. I had a nice house in Atlanta, and my wife drove nice cars, I had a kid, but God called me off of my job. That was the moment. He called me off of my job because I still wasn't living the life he called me to. From 28 to 31, I had a great job. I was working in corporate America. I was making a lot of money. Me and my wife had everything, I thought was success. And that's something else I'm going to talk about today. What is success? Let's think about that while I keep going. What do you define as success? Is it money? Is it clothes, cars, career? When someone asks you who you are, what do you say? I don't tell them the first line of my bio. It's not entrepreneur, it's not executive, it's none of those things. I'm a father, I'm a praying man, I'm a child of God, I'm a man of integrity, I'm a brother. Those are the things that matter. Being good at those things. If you're great at those things, the other things come by nature. I'm a good leader now, today, because I'm a good listener. My sister challenged me day and night. My mother challenged me. My second mother challenged me. My business partners challenged me. When I look at their resolve and I see how they handle situations, that helps me to become a good leader. It's not through the net worth. It's not through my bank account. It's not through the revenue. My brother Mark quoted some statistics, and I love the statistics. We can add $2 trillion to America's GDP by raising the reading level. You know how we raise the reading level? Through care, through pouring in, to not giving up. I employ currently with my partners 65 people. We never fired anyone through this global pandemic. We've expanded during this global pandemic. But if people stop praying for me, if people give up on me, if there was a moment where grace wasn't extended, accountability wasn't put in place, do I ever get there? If my brother doesn't take me in after I'm arrested for unthinkable things and allows me to be restored, allows me to really shape my life under his tutelage. I'm speaking of my pastor Travis Green when I say this. He took a chance on me when no one else would take a chance. I was a reckless kid. I was, through lack of a dad, I made excuses. Through my mom doing all she can to make sure I never got in trouble, I didn't understand accountability. And I know I'm going this way and that way, but I want to impact and impart this simple principle. When you are long-suffering with someone, not to the point of their detriment, but to the point that you're believing that God is going to do something in their life, believe on that thing. Have that faith. And he can actually move that mountain with your mustard seed faith that can change a generation. I do believe, and I say this humbly, that the belief that my family had in me, from my Uncle Marvin picking me up when I moved down here and taking me to get these Deion Sanders, which you may not remember, to my dad here being the first man to ever take me to get a haircut, that was my father, and not a member of my extended family. My Auntie Paris said, she kept me many moments. My Auntie Janice, the first place we lived when we got here, I took my team around to show them the places I lived when I got here. To Laverne. She's my aunt, Laverne. She's actually my cousin. So when I'm in school, making sure that I'm still straight. Or my Auntie Dog, who, when me and my wife first had our kids, she moved in with us because I was working to help me to go off and do what God was calling me to do, but still help be there for my family. My Auntie Jack, who was always an inspiration as an educational leader, and one of those people that pushed us to be the best we could in education, to my Aunt Teresa. It goes on and on and on. To my cousin Tasha, who kept me while my mom was going to work. Everybody in my family played a role in who I am today. My Uncle Melvin taught me how to play chess, backgammon. He taught me how to play cards. And my Uncle Louis, who was the guy I blamed for something unthinkable, but never treated me any different. Ever treated me any different. I want to be honest and transparent. Transparency and authenticity is what frees people. I can stand up here and tell you this glowing story of how I'm this multimillionaire guy and how all of you should do X, Y, Z, and you can make all of this money. That's not the message. That's the message you see on TV. You don't know what it took for any of those people to get where they are. And you don't know that you want to go through that to get to what they have. You have to go through what God called you to go through to get what He desires for your life. And money is only a magnifier. When you're rich, it only magnifies every bad part about you, but it also magnifies every great part about you. Platform. Me standing up here right now, everyone can pick apart everything about me. I'm not the guy sitting in the back of the room, so that means the platform magnifies if I have something in my teeth, if I have a speech impediment, if my breath is a little stink. Anybody here can sense it all. My point in saying that is this: don't ask for what your character can't hold. That's one of the hallmarks of something my pastor taught me. You ask for money, with that money comes responsibility. You ask for leadership, with that leadership comes responsibility. Can you manage a budget? Do you even pay your bills on time? What do your shoes look like? What does your car look like? How do you take care of your kids today? Those are the first signs of everything that you want to see. And it's not to say it's too early. The irony is Antonio here, when we were coming in, he told me I went to school with his dad.
Whoa.
His dad was in my class. And that reminded me just the responsibility that we have as leaders, as people in this community, to now come back and see someone that I grew up with, to see their legacy here. Bo, he reminds me of his dad. His dad was always a hardworking guy. Jermaine, he was a hardworking guy. Me and Lakina, he was in our class. He was what you would embody as what I'm talking about. They were a family unit. They always helped out. They were reliable. They were accountable. And I can see that in you. I don't know you very well. We just met, but I see a man sitting here doing the well, being responsible, being at a place looking to further himself. It's not about when you start, it's that you start.
That part.
It's not about how you start, it's how you finish. It's not about how difficult the road is, it's about people holding you up along the way. This is what this room is about.
Right.
That's what this room is about. One of the things I want to ensure that we do, and it's something I'm going to say for the end, is that we as a community, we remember, we're only as strong as we are together.
That part.
Sandersville was a place of segregation when I was here. Black and white people, we did not come together a lot. I can't say a white guy ever came to my house and had dinner with me when I was in Sandersville, Georgia. Not once. Why am I saying that? Diversity happens at the dinner table.
Sure.
It begins in classrooms, it begins in boardrooms, but diversity happens at the dinner table. It happens through relationship. Transformation happens through relationship. Change happens through relationship. It happens because you understand what it takes for that person to get through everyday life. It's easy to say, hey, you should just go to technical school. Can they afford it? Do they have the family support to help them through it? Do they have the underlying educational training to help them to finish? Do they have the necessary community to ensure that as they're walking through that, if they have a difficult time, that they have someone to lean on and talk to, that can help them through that progression? I want to encourage everyone to not just do their job, but do their purpose. The purpose of my entire speech today was, are you in your purpose? Are you doing what God placed you here to do? I know you have a career. I know you have a great job. I know many of you are doing amazing in life, and some of you are still wondering. The question I want you to ask yourself when I'm done today is, am I in my purpose? I had a great job, and I'm going back to it. I quit my job, and from God speaking to me audibly in the shower, and I went and volunteered at my brother's church. There I found purpose. It wasn't sexy. I carried his bags around. I went and got food, drove him around. I had no clue about music. I don't necessarily even like music. I can't hear notes. My daughter's playing the piano now. I can't understand anything she's doing. But I found leadership. I saw a man who was faithful to his wife. I saw a man that was faithful to his children. I saw a man of integrity. I saw a man that was long-suffering for me. Many of you are that for someone. I saw a man that took a chance on me at a moment where very few people would. I thank him for that. I'm forever indebted. Without that, there is no Norman anything in Christian music, because I had never listened to more than 10 hours of Christian music to the point that I met him in my life. In my life. My purpose was attached to my yes to serving their family. To just think of the nature. My sister is my pastor, my younger sister. You can allow any stumbling block to be a stumbling block to your purpose. It may not look like what you think it is. It could be one of your children's mom that you fight with all the time. It could be a cousin that you've never spoken to. It could be someone that you've cursed out once before that you need to go and apologize to. It can be that administrator that always gives you a hard time. Your purpose is attached to generally a difficult situation. It's attached to the thing you need to overcome. For me, it was pride and materialism. Pride. It takes pride to go to the school your sister graduated from already so that I can find my way to Georgia Tech into the degree where my purpose was. It takes relaxing pride to go and work for my sister and my brother while I have 2 kids. It takes pride to trade all of my cars in and drive a 2005 Infiniti that my wife had been gifted. I'm already married at this time with 3 kids. It takes pride to move back in with my mother because I could no longer afford to pay my mortgage in Atlanta after I had followed the word from God. Following the word from God is only the beginning. It doesn't mean you'll see the manifestation instantly. I moved in with my mom. I stopped wearing flashy clothes. I didn't have any of the markings of what success looked like. But I was more successful in that moment than I've ever been in my life. I was more successful in that moment than even I would say I am today. Because in that moment, I knew the answer to this question. Was I in God's perfect will? And the answer was absolutely. It's not sexy, you know. This isn't the speech you give when you've made it, but I haven't made it. This season for me isn't the vision God gave me. So when it's not the vision, it's seed. I also learned that from my pastor. What does that mean? That means if what God has shown you, even in the midst of everything you have, you're not there yet, you're holding something you need to release back to Him so that He can give you the rest of it. All He wants to know is that He can trust you with more. And He trusts you with more based on how you treat your today. I've been listening to this sermon series by Pastor Michael Todd. Some of you may know him, some of you may not. But the series is about here versus there. I want all of us to look at where we are right now and focus here, right here. How can you be your best person right now? I don't know if my pastor remembers this, but one of the most transformative seasons in our church was when God told us to stop worrying about our next building and look at how we treat our current building. What you do or what He's giving you is how He judges on what you'll do with the next. You're praying for a new car. How do you treat your current car? You're praying for access to more money. How do you treat the current budget that you have? You're praying for more revenue in your business. How do you manage the current revenue in your business? Are you willing to listen? Are you willing to go further? Do you work harder than anyone at what He's called you to do? All in all, these are the questions that point to purpose. God is the author of your purpose. You can't find purpose without Him. He is love. You can't have love without God.
That's good.
I know we live in a nation where we live in a nation where there are alternative truths. There's one truth.
That's good.
I know that we all want our feelings to be the thing that matters. It doesn't matter more than God's purpose for you. I know we want our family to be the people that has our back. It may not be the case. Jesus' family, He couldn't do miracles in the place He grew up because they were too familiar. There may be people a little too familiar with you. You may have to go off and find friends, other places that help you progress in your purpose. Don't be afraid of lands you haven't seen, people you don't know, people you've never interacted with. Rooms like this are where change begins.
Yep.
Rooms like this is where inspiration begins. Rooms like this, where a young black boy from Sandersville, Georgia, by way of Davisboro, that was a troublemaker at Washington County High School, is placed on the heart of Sakitha, and he comes home in a moment. I don't know why. I don't know who needs to hear this, but there's someone that's on the edge of giving up. There's someone in here on the edge of giving up on someone. And then there's someone that's just right there in the middle that just needs an additional push. I want to say this. My grandmother, Katie Smith Poole, she was one of the original board members of this illustrious school. She embodied what we call the fruit of the Spirit.
Yep.
She was loving. She was kind. She was gentle. She had self-control. My grandmother, as I watched her growing up, she would have people come in that had just recently been arrested, and they would sit on the couch, and she'd make a decision on whether she would help them be bailed out. I saw those moments. I saw my grandmother when we're at church. She's tired so much to just keep the lights on because there's only 8 people there. She is a business owner. She's driving all of us to church every day. She took care of me and my sister. She took care of her children. She was a pillar in this community.
Yep.
She did everything that she could for everyone that she knew. She was a pillar of integrity. And I'd be remiss on a day like today not to honor her in an amazing way.
Yeah.
I want to create a scholarship here at this school in the name of my grandmother, Katie Smith Poole.
Let's go.
I don't want finances to be a deterrent to any student that walks through here again. I have a vision that this scholarship will be larger than even what I thought when I first began with it. I want to start today and give $100,000 yearly to any student students that may leave an opportunity to move forward. That's the heart my grandmother had. That's the heart my mother had. And that's the heart Sandersville, Georgia had for me. I don't want this to be a feel-good moment. I want each of you to take a tangible piece away from this. I want you to really ask yourself, am I in my purpose? This gift to this school, I really want it to be used to change lives.
Yep.
Yes.
I want to be a resource,
Yep.
however I can. What you guys are doing here is game changing. I didn't recognize growing up how many people here live below the poverty line. I didn't recognize growing up the situations of my friends. Everyone had everything as far as I was concerned. As an adult, I see a different reality. If there's anything I can do, feel free. Reach out to me. Reach out to my team. reach out to my family. This scholarship, I want to be able to help my brother Mark get that reading level where it needs to be. I want families here in this local community to be able to say, I want my child went to Oconee Fall Line Technical College on that Smith Poole scholarship, and then my son went on to, my daughter went on to. I want to plant that seed and that legacy. And I want to be one of them. I don't want to be the owner. I want this to be the beginning. I want this to be the beginning of philanthropy coming back home.
Amen.
I want this to be the beginning of the revitalization of this community.
Amen.
I want this to be the beginning of no more shooting, no more crime, no more lives lost. The things that these kids, these decisions that these young men are making here in Sandersville today, it's based on what they see. I want to give them something else to see.
That's great. So good.
So for my brothers in the room that have to go back and you're in this community that I grew up in, I've done it all. You name it, I've done it. You name it, I've done it. You name it, I've been in trouble for it. You name it. By God's grace, I don't have a criminal record. By God's grace. By God's grace and grace alone. But that alone should not restrict you from believing you can be something better than what you've seen.
Yep.
So, if you say, I said it, I didn't see it, I never saw the example, I never met a black engineer, I'm a black engineer. I never met a black economist, I'm a black economist. I never met a black millionaire, I'm a black millionaire. I'm saying this to my brothers in the room. I never met a man that was married and had all of those things. I'm married. I never met a man like that cared for his children. I care for my children. I want you to look at a real example of a man that messed up, is telling you, I drove the fastest cars, the nicest cars. I've worn the most expensive of the expensive. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is that you're in your purpose, that you understand and surrender your life to God. You stay there. It's not easy. And that you care for those around you in a way that they understand that what they poured into you, you're willing to give it back.
Wow.
I don't have much more to add.
That was great.
I'm really thankful to everybody that came. It warms my heart. I want this moment, this moment marked me and marked my life. It's the first time I've been invited to speak, not anywhere, but at home.
Wow. That's good. Wow.